In this video, I will show you how to make the cutest boat neck mini dress. This pattern also comes with written instructions, so I will take you through each step of the written instructions. This dress is the perfect basic to have in your wardrobe. So to start, print out your pattern and cut out your fabric. You can find the pattern in the link in the description. Then in step 2, you will draw the dart markings onto your fabric. I used a washable marker for this, and the back darts are optional, but I would recommend to draw them onto your fabric just in case. And remember to draw these onto the wrong side of your fabric. In the next step, we will pinch together the dart and pin it in place. And here I'm using the pins as a guide to make sure that the front and back lines match up. Then I prefer sewing from the outside to the inside of the dart. To have the dart lay more flat, I will not backstitch when I reach the peak of the dart. Instead, I will create a knot with the thread. And then we will do the exact same process with the waist dart. So pinch it together and pin it in place. And I am using my pins as a guide to make sure that the two lines match up on both sides. And again, I will not backstitch. Instead, I will create knots on the beginning and the end to make it less bulky. If you want to backstitch, that is totally fine. And then you can take it through your sewing machine. And here you can see I'm making this knot to make sure that the thread doesn't become undone. So you either have to backstitch or make this knot. I would recommend to make a knot so that the ends of your darts are less bulky. And then you do the exact same to the other side of the dress. And remember that the back darts are optional. Now I'm taking it to my ironing board and giving it a press. I prefer ironing my bust darts downwards and ironing my waist darts outwards. In the next step, we're going to be preparing the bias tape. So I will fold each side inward towards the middle. I like to use this little TikTok hack where I put pins in my ironing board to keep the fabric in place. It's important here that you cut this piece of fabric on the diagonal of your grain line. This makes it more flexible compared to cutting it straight up and down. If you have a lot of fabric, you can also cut this piece really long instead of 6 individual bias tape pieces. Then in the next step, we're going to be attaching the bias tape to the armholes. So attach the bias tape's right side to the dress's wrong side. Then you can pin this in place and put it through your sewing machine. After you have put it through your sewing machine, we are going to cut off some of the excess seam allowance to make it easier to fold. I will also cut a few slits into the seam allowance to make the curved hem smoother. After I've done that, I will turn it on the right side and turn over the bias tape, putting it on top of the previously made straight stitch. I will then put it through my sewing machine. I like to have my needle on the left side because I think this makes it easier to see, but that's just a preference. You will then do this to all 4 armholes. And then you can take it to your ironing board. Then in the next step, we're going to do the exact same process but to the neckline. So attach your bias tape's right side to the dress's wrong side. Pin this in place and put it through your sewing machine. Then I will cut off some of the excess fabric and cut some slits into the seam allowance. After I've done that, I will turn the dress on the right side and fold over the bias tape and pin it on top of the previously made straight stitch. Then I will put it through my sewing machine, and again I like to have my needle on the left side. Then do this to both of the necklines. In the next step, we're going to be attaching the front and back at the shoulders. So I will start by cutting off some of the excess fabric from the bias tape, then attaching the front and back, right sides together, wrong side facing yourself. Pin this in place and put it through your sewing machine. Then I will put it through again with a zigzag stitch to make sure that my fabric doesn't fray. In the next step, we're going to be creating the strap. So iron it just like we did with the bias tape, then fold this in half and pin it in place. Before you pin all the way down to the end, we're going to be sewing the end to make sure that it looks neat. So on one of the ends of each strap, you will fold it towards the opposite side. Pin this in place and put it through your sewing machine. Then you can cut off some of the excess seam allowance and fold it over towards the right side. And then you can pin together the rest of the strap. And this will give you a very clean edge at the end of the strap. And then I will put it through my sewing machine. Again, I like to have my needle on the left side because I think this makes it easier to see, and I think the strap moves more equally forward. And in the next step, we're going to be attaching the front and the back of the dress, and we will be doing this with a French seam. So pin the front and back together, wrong sides facing each other, right side facing yourself. In this step, you should also be inserting the strap. I forgot about this when I was sewing it, so I had to seam rip afterwards and insert it, but please remember to insert the strap. You should do this 3 inches below the bust dart. Then after I've sewn this, I will cut off some of the excess seam allowance. Then do this to both sides, and then I will take it to my ironing board. And here you can see what it looks like when you attach the straps. I have to seam rib a bit and re-sew it but you can just insert it when sewing the initial straight stitch. So you can see I'm marking 3 inches below the dart and inserting the strap. Feel free to ask if you have any questions about this or refer to the written instructions. Next, we'll turn the dress on the wrong side, then pinching out the seam and pinning this in place. This will enclose the raw hem and give a very neat finish also on the inside. Then put it through your sewing machine. Then we will do the exact same to the other side. So pinch out the seam, pin it together, and put it through your sewing machine. Then in the next step, we're going to be hemming the dress. So fold the edge of the fabric inwards twice, concealing the raw hem, and then pin this in place. Because we will be pulling the straps backwards, you want your side seams to be facing the front. So keep this in mind when you are hemming the bottom of the fabric. And then you can put it through your sewing machine. Then I will give it a final press, and we are done. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and I will see you in the next one.